Sir Septimus Shale had only one rule. Christmas had to be done his way. The rest of the year he let his stylish young wife decorate their home with modern art and steel furniture, host avant-garde poets, and dress as outrageously as she pleased. But when December rolled around, he demanded a traditional holiday. Every year he retreated to their country house in Essex, filled it with holly and mistletoe, even on the stark electric fixtures, swapped modern heating for wood fires, and insisted on old-fashioned games like charades and hide-and-seek after a massive Christmas feast. Since he was incredibly wealthy, his guests humored him, even if they secretly found it tedious. One cherished tradition was his gift to his daughter, Margarita, a pearl every Christmas Eve, adding to an already famous necklace. This year marked the 21st pearl, celebrated with a grand party followed by an intimate family gathering. After a dinner of endless courses, turkey, roast beef, plum pudding, and too many glasses of wine, the guests, stuffed and sleepy, were corralled into playing games. Somewhere between Hunt the Slipper and Dumb Crambo, Margarita had taken off her necklace to keep it from getting damaged. But when her father casually asked about it, she reached for the table where she'd left it, only to find it gone. At first they assumed someone had moved it, but after 10 minutes of searching, the mood shifted. Richard Dennison, who had been sitting near the necklace, looked uneasy. "Awkward, isn't it?" he murmured to Lord Peter Wimsey. Before anyone could respond, Oswald Trugood poked his head in from the other room. "Are we playing or not?" he asked impatiently. But the game had already changed. Now it was a hunt for a missing pearl necklace. Sir Septimus Shale was a man of tradition. At least once a year, his young modern wife could fill their home with abstract art and avant-garde poets, but Christmas, that was his. He decked the halls with holly, lit the fireplaces, and insisted on old-fashioned games, much to the quiet dismay of his sophisticated guests. They humored him, of course. He was rich, and it was just one night. One beloved tradition was his gift to his daughter Margarita, a single pearl on her birthday, which happened to be Christmas Eve. By now she had 21 pearls, each a rare beauty, worth a fortune. This year the latest edition was celebrated with speeches, a lavish dinner, and eventually a round of parlour games. It was during one of these games that Margarita reached for her necklace, only to realize it was gone. At first everyone laughed. It had to be nearby, misplaced among the costumes, but as the minutes stretched and the search grew frantic, the mood shifted. The pearls weren't anywhere. Lord Peter Wimsey, a guest with a knack for solving mysteries, took charge. The windows were locked, and no one had left the room, which meant the thief was among them. William Norgate, ever practical, suggested something bold, a search. The group hesitated, then agreed. Out came pocket trinkets, hairpins, poems, a lucky potato, but no pearls. The word police lingered in the air. Sir Septimus balked. Scandal? At Christmas? Unthinkable. Couldn't Wimsey solve it? Wimsey started fresh, retracing every step. He crawled under furniture, inspected every surface, and then something small caught his eye under a steel cabinet, a tiny, delicate pin. He turned it in his fingers, then looked up, eyes sharp. "I know where the pearls are," he announced. "I just don't know who took them." A hush fell. "For now, let's all get some rest," he continued, standing. "Lock this room. I promise, by breakfast we'll have our answer." Sir Septimus swallowed hard. Good Lord. That night Wimsey kept watch. No one came near the drawing-room. But by morning he had his suspect list, and as the guests trickled into breakfast, tension thick in the air, Oswald Trugood broke the silence. "Let's not dance around it," he said. "We need to talk about those pearls." And just like that, the real game began. "Well now," Oswald Trugood called out, crossing his arms with a smirk. "How's the great detective getting on? Any luck, Wimsey?" "Not yet," Lord Peter Wimsey replied casually, though there was an undeniable glint in his eyes. Sir Septimus, glancing at Wimsey as if waiting for some kind of signal, cleared his throat and spoke with an air of forced authority. "This whole situation is absolutely dreadful," he grumbled. "Really, really dreadful. And right at Christmas, no less. I suppose there's no avoiding it. We'll have to call the police. Damned shame. Ruined the holiday spirit." He motioned toward the festive garlands and colorful paper chains draped around the room. "No point in keeping all this up now. Might as well tear it all down, toss it in the fire." Joyce sighed. "What a waste, considering how much effort we put into decorating." "Oh, let it be, Uncle," Henry Shale said. "You're getting too worked up over this. I bet the pearls will turn up." "Shall I ring for James to take the decorations down?" William Norgate suggested. "No need," George Comfrey interjected. "Let's do it ourselves. Might as well keep busy, take our minds off all this." "That's the spirit," Sir Septimus agreed. "Let's get it over with." With uncharacteristic aggression, he ripped a thick holly branch from the mantelpiece and tossed it into the fire, where it crackled and snapped in the flames. "Now we're talking," Richard Dennison cheered, jumping up from the table and yanking down the mistletoe from the chandelier. "One last chance for a Christmas kiss, anyone?" "Isn't it bad luck to take it down before New Year's?" Miss Tomkins asked hesitantly. "Oh, nonsense. Let's clear the whole place. Someone get the decorations from the drawing-room, too," Comfrey said, rolling up his sleeves. "Isn't the drawing-room locked?" Oswald asked. "No need any more," someone answered. "Lord Peter says the pearls aren't in there, so the door's open now." "That's right, isn't it, Wimsey?" "Quite right," Wimsey nodded. "The pearls were taken out of those rooms. I can't say how just yet, but I'd stake my reputation that they're not there now." "Well then," Comfrey grinned, "let's get to work. Lavinia, you and Dennison take the drawing-room. I'll handle the back room. Let's see who finishes first." "But if the police are coming—" Dennison hesitated. "Shouldn't we leave everything untouched?" "Damn the police," Sir Septimus snapped. "They don't need to see a bunch of holly and tinsel." Laughter echoed through the house as the guests split up, pulling decorations down with an almost reckless enthusiasm. Wimsey, however, remained quiet. He made his way upstairs to the drawing-room, where Lavinia and Dennison were tearing down garlands and wreaths, as Comfrey worked quickly in the other room. "You're not allowed to help, Wimsey," Lavinia teased. "That wouldn't be fair." Wimsey only smiled and waited. Once the room was cleared, he followed them back downstairs, pausing near the roaring fireplace where branches and paper decorations were being eagerly thrown in. Leaning in close to Sir Septimus, Wimsey whispered something. The older man stiffened slightly, then stepped forward and placed a firm hand on George Comfrey's shoulder. "Lord Peter wants a word with you, my boy," he said, his voice steady. Comfrey flinched, just for a second. He hesitated before following Wimsey to the side, his expression carefully neutral. "Mr. Comfrey," Wimsey said lightly, extending his palm, "I believe these belong to you." Resting in his hand were 22 fine, delicate pins, small-headed, nearly invisible. For a moment, Comfrey said nothing. "Ingenious little trick," Wimsey mused, turning one of the pins between his fingers. "But, you see, something simpler might have served you better." He glanced at Sir Septimus. "It was rather unfortunate for our friend here that you mentioned the pearls when you did. You see, he was hoping their absence wouldn't be noticed right away. If we'd just gone on with our games, nobody would have thought to lock the drawing-room. Then, when the moment was right, he could have quietly retrieved them." Comfrey swallowed hard, but said nothing. Wimsey continued, his voice almost conversational. "He'd been here for Christmas before, knew the kind of games we played. He had a plan in place before he even arrived, hence the pins. When Miss Shale took off her necklace during the game, it was the perfect opportunity. He simply had to pick it up when no one was looking, cut the pearls loose with his little pocket scissors, and burned the string in the fireplace." Wimsey held up the pins. "Then, using these, he secured the pearls to the mistletoe hanging from the chandelier. Clever, really. A high ceiling, a crowded room. Who would think to look there?" Silence fell over the room as realization dawned on the others. "I wouldn't have thought of it myself," Wimsey admitted. "Not until I found one of these pins. That's when it struck me. The pearls weren't hidden. They were right in front of us, masquerading as mistletoe berries, and sure enough, when I checked last night, there they were. I took them down before anyone else could. He held up his other hand, revealing the missing pearls. Comfrey was pale now, his lips pressed together tightly. "I imagine you had quite the shock this morning when you went to help with the decorations," Wimsey added with a knowing smile. "You were expecting to retrieve the pearls, only to find they were gone." Comfrey didn't reply. Sir Septimus exhaled heavily, shaking his head. "And you figured all this out just from finding a single pin?" "Yes," Wimsey said simply. "Once I realized what it was, I knew where the pearls had to be." Sir Septimus frowned. "But you never even looked at the mistletoe." Wimsey's smile deepened. "I didn't need to. I saw it reflected in the polished black floor. And when I did, I noticed something. Those mistletoe berries looked an awful lot like pearls." A stunned silence hung in the air before Sir Septimus muttered, "Well, I'll be damned."